We are here for Vapid Response number 3.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Thomas. That over there is amazing producer Lydia.
Hello.
And coming in, I guess, on a blurry connection. I don't know why it's reconnecting every time. Matt, there we go. Now we've got you. And Matt's here. Lawyer Matt.
Guten Tag, citizens. All right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's a good place to start. It's not feeling great lately. Real life immigration attorney Matt Cameron. How's your job lately?
It's always been pretty fashy, but we're really cranking the fash up here. Well, we're not. We're
I was going to say, just to clarify any new viewers, Matt is a fascist.
Bring me into that.
Matt is an avid fascist. He's living his best life right now.
Yes, and finally seeing it through. No, we're going to talk today about the tip of the spear for fascism in America, which is, of course, immigration enforcement. But I know you're all paying attention to what's going on in D.C., which is very related to what we're going to be talking about today. And the federalization of police throughout the country is very concerning. I'm really worried about it.
Yeah, it seems it's all... I love how news sources still play this like it's a novel thing. I just listened to, I think it was The Daily.
I was going to ask, was it The Daily?
I can't remember. It might have been Washington Post, but it might have been The Daily too. How can he do this with Washington, D.C.? Oh, okay. And it's like, it's just worthless. Like, it's just, we know what he's doing. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. Washington, D.C., you've got the special, constitutional situation there. So he does have the power to exert authority there. He starts there. He uses it as a model to maybe enforce it on other cities as a way to it's like, it's so transparently that's what he's doing that I don't know why we bother taking this, like, the news media takes this newborn baby role. Oh, okay. And so that city is different. It's like, who's that for? What does it do?
Yeah.
It's for newborn babies who tune in, I guess. And like, oh, this is my first time on Earth today. That's interesting. Everybody else, we know what's going on. Anyway, sorry.
No, we're going to talk about it more with plan to talk more about it with Janessa on Friday, But again, like you said, the legal stuff doesn't really matter because he's doing it because he can do it. The Home Rule Act makes it a lot easier in D.C., but he's talking about doing it in other cities. And that's why it's extra imperative, I think, that we fight back against this National Review piece that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, love a good National Review piece.
Extremely related. Yeah. And then we've also got a piece I've been holding on to for a little while now. From Newsweek, from somebody who's not usually an idiot being a complete idiot about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And this
that's my favorite kind, Matt. It's Christmas here. I love it.
And this piece has actually aged really badly since June when it was published. So I'm looking forward to
since
updating
5 years ago in June. Yeah.
June. Man, what a month. Yeah. So we've got some good times, though, because I had to see this. As soon as I saw this headline, I had to go with it. This is from the editors. It's an op-ed, not just from anybody, but all of the editors at the National Review. And it's entitled, ICE is no Gestapo.
ICE is no Gestapo. Okay.
They're no Gestapo. So yes, literally, they are not being led by Erman Goring in 1933. Good job. We are in America in 2025.
Is that the extent of the analysis? Because I could have written that.
One sentence, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will say before we get going, and I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about before we just get into this, but I think we should just get in. We've been going along on these. So, I just want to give the usual disclaimers about how obviously it's dangerous to directly compare anything that's going on to any kind of history, especially Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany was a very unique situation. But I'm going to make the case today that ICE is a Gestapo. That it is very much in the beginnings of the Gestapo cycle that started in 1933 and carried on till right up till the end of the war.
I believe, Matt, you said it on last week's Opening Arguments podcast, right? Where it's like, are they the Gestapo in 1940, 2 or whatever you said? Maybe not, but are they the Gestapo in 1938? Something, maybe.
Yeah.
And even before, there was a Gestapo before the Third Reich, and there was an ICE before.
There were people who were like, I was in the Gestapo before we were the whole Nazis thing. All these Johnny-come-latelys.
No, there were in Prussia, that was the real stuff. That's where it was at. But the Gestapo, it's
we'll Russia, Matt. I can't believe you just mispronounced it like that.
Just adding a P.
Sorry, everybody. We like to deal in facts here.
So, when those of us, and there are quite a few people, have been comparing ICE to the Gestapo, and we're comparing. We're not saying they're the actual Gestapo because that's a very specific time and place. And I'm going to talk more about why I think it's actually completely fair. And I'm saying this as somebody who's been getting into a number of arguments recently about people who keep calling that place in Florida Alligator Auschwitz instead of Alligator Alcatraz, because I don't think that talking about death camps is the right thing right now. I think that calling it a concentration camp is enough. I think it does insult the memory of people who died in death camps to compare this swamp thing in Florida. And again, we all know that's where it can go, but it's not where it has to go, right? In just the same sense that the Gestapo doesn't have to go as bad as what we're going to talk about. But the editors of the National Review are being purposely obtuse, like all of our favorite authors here at Vapid Review.
Vapid Response is the name. So why don't we take our first break?
National Review.
We'll teach Matt the name of the show and also Russia, the name of the country. He's not. Sorry. Anyway, no, we'll take a quick break for the podcast listeners before we dive in.
All right.
All right. That's probably enough of a break for everybody here.
Let's do it.
I feel refreshed. Okay.
Right.
Is this one I'm pulling up? And where is the link? Sorry.
Yeah. This is hot off National Review presses from August 6th, 2025. So we're trying to keep it current here. And they really thought this was worth writing. They thought this was something that we needed to say. I don't know why.
Sorry, is somebody putting the link somewhere?
I sent it to you on Facebook. I think you had it up.
Slack is the place I was
earlier.
asking to send everything.
Well.
That's the one screen I have up right now.
Okay.
I don't have any other screens up.
Well, then give me a second.
And go ahead, Matt. You can keep introing.
Yeah. So we should talk about the Gestapo for a minute just before we get started on all of this, which, of course, the name of the Gestapo literally means the state secret police. They are literally the secret police of Nazi Germany. And it's good to remember that they were a deportation force. That was a big part of what they actually did and they did this after Jews were basically reclassified as no longer being German citizens. Certainly no parallels to today. And they were also a surveillance organization, which I want you to keep in mind as we're reading this. They were, to that point in history, I think they did more surveillance than anybody had ever done. They were able to tap anybody's phone lines. They were able to intercept all communications. They had an incredible team of translators that were watching newspapers around the world that could instantaneously translate and follow people that had escaped Nazi Germany so they could chase them down. I wasn't aware of that part of it. I've been doing a lot of reading about the Gestapo recently, and I have to say there's pretty fair parallels. But let's just start in here with the editors of the National Review, why they want to write this.
In the summer of 1934, the Gestapo carried out a murderous purge against Chancellor Adolf Hitler's internal party enemies, known as the Night of the Long Knives.
Correct. That's one of the only correct statements in this editorial.
In the summer of go ahead.
You're stopping.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, the Gestapo, as I said, they did predate the Third Reich in the Weimar Republic, but also, so remember, the Third Reich got started in January of 33. They're talking about the summer of 34. There are a lot of things that happened in between. And we are also, remind everybody, recording this now in August of 2025. Keep that in mind as we're talking. Let's keep going.
All right. In the summer of 2025, Immigration and Customs Enforcement detained illegal immigrants and ensured they weren't evading lawful immigration proceedings. Can you spot the difference? Democrats apparently can't.
Pam, so office meme.
Yeah.
They're doing the classic bad faith argument thing of like, well, here's one of the worst things the Gestapo did. And does this look like that to you?
Yeah.
As we'll talk about, there's plenty of reasons that we get to call it the Gestapo. But the worst thing the Gestapo
conducts HR meetings internally. Right. They also clock in. I don't know. Try to pick like the most irrelevant thing about what they do. Yeah, you pick the worst example of one and the best example of another. I feel like you could probably pick examples that are closer together if you wanted to, right, Matt?
Yes, you certainly could. Considering the fact that the Gestapo's main purpose by the time they were done was deporting Jews to camps. That's what they were doing. Like literally, the SS had the jurisdiction over deportations of the Roma and homosexuals and other people that were minority groups that they were deporting to camps. But the Gestapo was responsible specifically for the Jewish population, which, again, had been effectively denaturalized by the Nuremberg laws in 34. And again, we're talking about the equivalent of early 1933 when we're talking about where we're at right now. And again, I want to be very careful to say, I'm not talking about an exact shot-for-shot
But it sure is pretty fucking close, Matt. Like, I don't even know that why we need to couch it. Like, John Oliver last night, we just watched it. There's a clip where a citizen is assaulted and taken by ICE. And the guy says, you're an illegal. You don't have any rights here, brother.
Yep.
You have no rights. That's a citizen. You're an illegal. You have no rights. I can't like, what is the degree of separation from, okay, literally it's not the year 1930 fucking whatever. Like beyond that, you're an illegal. You have no rights here. and being rounded up and taken somewhere as a citizen, what reasonable, what margin of difference is there that matters there? Like it's you're really grasping at straws if you're trying to say there's some giant meaningful difference between what that is and what the Gestapo was.
Well, let's see what they say about it.
Oh, okay.
First, they're going to give some examples of cool people saying cool stuff.
Quote, Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets, said Tim Walz at a May commencement address. He's not alone.
Let me just finish that quote because they're not going to give you the rest of it. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. Again, factual.
So all those 100% factual. I didn't hear, not even, and I'm not even talking about like, I'm a liberal and I'm a leftist going to exaggerate facts. Those are just plain factual statements. Like
videos you can watch.
The right would probably agree with those statements. But and
they like it.
Why is this article quoting this as some sort of example of
hysteria?
Of hysteria. Oh, just describing the actual things that is happening.
That are happening in front of us. Yep.
Gotcha.
Now let's hear from Stephen Lynch, another one of my favorite congressmen.
Congressman Stephen Lynch of Massachusetts said, quote, when you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland and you compare them to those nondescript thugs who grabbed that graduate student, it does look like a Gestapo operation. Man,
it sure does. He's talking about, of course, about Ramesa Ozturk, and I think we've all seen that video by now, but just coming up to her on the street and grabbing her and taking her off the street, and they start masking at that point. Lynch, actually, that clip, we won't play it now, but we'll link to it. It's worth watching. He gets very emotional. It's a great delivery. Let's look at the next one.
Rachel Maddow invokes ICE in making the case that, quote, we have a consolidating dictatorship in our country. Representative, did you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, just the context of that, because not that you need context. I mean, I think we all agree.
The context, it's all around us. That's right. Context.
But she said, imagine the cartoon level caricature of what you think a dictatorship looks like. It's secret police, right? A massive, anonymous, unabadged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force that apparently has infinite funding but no identifiable leadership. Again, secret police.
Yeah.
I will disagree that they have the leadership of that fucking guy, that very, very slow guy.
Tom Homan.
Yeah, Tom Homan, who I can't, again, it's like, these are all, every time I see him, Stephen Miller, I just think, these were the people in the back of the class who didn't do any of the homework, failed out of it, and then wanted to like get guns or whatever. Like when I hear these people talk, it's like this is their revenge on us or something.
Oh yeah, Homan is definitely he's a cop.
He is a leader. I guess I'll disagree that he is the leader of ICE.
He's not though.
He's not. Okay.
Point. Well, it's a good because he's the border czar. He has like this indiscriminate sort of like broad portfolio, right?
Yeah, educate us on that. I would have just said
Yeah. Same with Stephen Miller, who's like a special counsel, right? He's not, he's not a lawyer, he's a special counsel or whatever. Like he's just an advisor. They purposely, Stephen Miller never wanted to be appointed to anything because he wanted to have as much power as possible to move between agencies and yell at people.
And not have to go through like confirmation or any accountability whatsoever. Yeah. Okay.
So Homan is not the head of ICE. He's not the head of DHS, right? I mean, that's Christy Noem.
Yeah. I think most of us who aren't immigration attorneys, and maybe I'm just ignorant, but I just assumed he was. I thought he was literally that.
He's out there like he is.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
So who is the leader then?
Christy Noem is technically, I couldn't actually even name the head of ICE right now because I think they keep changing it.
So she's not the person they're calling ICE. What are they calling her again? ICE Barbie or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
She's head of DHS.
Okay. But she's not technically. Wow. Okay. Well, I stand completely corrected on that. I'm really glad you said that.
Oh, the acting director is Todd Lyons from Massachusetts. I should have known that, of course. Our FedEx guy. Well, never mind. I'm not going to get to that. So
FedEx guy.
So let's go on.
I'm not going to go to a related
like
FedEx mail story. Just sending a package the other day, and no,
I didn't say that. Let's go on to the next cool person saying a cool thing.
All right, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said the agency should not exist.
Yep.
No comment there. That's easy. Yep.
Representative Dan Goldman said that they were like, quote, secret police who need to be unmasked.
This is incredible because normally they can do a better job of finding the extreme examples on the left of like, and by the way, with the power of taking things out of context too. Like I feel like I could have done a better job. But in this instance, every single statement in that paragraph you just read, every single one is just literal truth.
Yeah. It's easy. Oh, and I should say, for context of Dan Goldman, this is even better. Dan Goldman literally introduced the No Secret Police Act, which would require ICE to be unmasked and show ID. And of course, Republicans are never going to go for that because they want secret police. It's very important that we have them.
Wow.
So that, as you said, all a series of factual statements from people that we like. And let's see what the National Review
read
has
that
to say
next
about
sentence, son.
Yeah. This inflamed rhetoric is firmly in the American tradition.
Inflamed rhetoric.
This inflamed rhetoric of factual statements.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is also totally cracked and part of a febrile atmosphere around ICE's operations. Some anti-ICE activists have been taking matters into their own hands. 11 left-wing agitators ambushed an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas, opening fire on agents and shooting one in the neck.
So now, I have to just stop real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, go for it, Matt, and I'll
no, go ahead. You sounds like you get the facts on
it. Just a little bit. So from my understanding, there was a group of protesters outside of a facility, and they were shooting fireworks and graffitiing federal cars, I guess, saying ICE pig and different things like that on it. And the allegation is that they were doing those things in order to get ICE agents to come out of the building so they could confront them and shoot at them. But the ICE officers called the police for backup. And then when the police arrived, one of the police officers got shot and was then taken to the hospital and is fine. But now all of these people are being charged with 3 counts of attempted murder of a federal officer, as well as discharging a firearm in relation to, committing a violent felony.
Why did somebody shoot a police officer? We don't know.
They didn't. I don't think they even knew it was not a police officer. But I mean, that's a very important point. And this is not the only factual error in this article. I will point out. There's going to be a couple of them. But they're just. I don't know if they don't know that it wasn't an ICE officer. And again, it's terrible that like somebody just showed up, did his job, and got shot in the neck. I mean, that was a local cop.
Yeah.
But because ICE just wouldn't come out because they're cowards.
In what way, in what stretch of the imagination can you say that everybody at a demonstration is like liable for that, Matt? Is like part of that.
Right. Yeah.
Or that
it's representative of
So they are saying all of those people are being charged with 3 counts of attempted murder.
They're actually wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And then your favorite, hun, Andy No, tweeted about this and said and posted all their mugshots. These are like some of these are like young kids, like they're, you have some young white women, young white men, like it's a kind of broad mix. And he said and at the time this was 10 that they had in custody at the time. These are the 10 alleged members of a North Texas Antifa terror cell accused of carrying out the attempted murder of federal officers at a shooting terrorist attack on an ICE facility. Talk about inflamed rhetoric. I think when I read this, I'm just like, come on, guys.
Exactly. Grab any quote of these fuckers talking about any protest, anyone on the left, anyone who has any problem with what they're doing. That's the inflamed rhetoric for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's more coming. Let's keep going.
In Portland, Oregon, an incendiary device was thrown at officers. I tried looking this up, and it's only ever called an incendiary device. I don't know. Like, I imagine there are various kinds of. Yeah,
like a Bic lighter.
I don't know. I can't figure out what the details are there. This is
Portland, Oregon police are horrible, and so in any given day, I'm going to be careful with my words. It's likely someone thought they ought to throw something at them. Is all I'm saying.
Like, and I will say, like things have been pretty intense in Portland through the ICE protests too. Like specifically the ICE protests. It fails to mention the tear gas, the flashbangs, all the chaos that's been happening from the Portland police side towards protesters, and who knows, kind of what escalated here and there. And honestly, like I could not find more details about the incendiary device. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. Let's see. Where'd I leave off? Another attacker in McAllen, Texas, shot a police officer and injured 2 Border Patrol employees.
That did happen. And he was killed.
The guy.
Yes, he was killed.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And from what I understand too, his father had called the police saying he was concerned about his son's mental state, and he knew he had weapons in his car with him. So, I would say that's not necessarily reflective on this person's view on ICE specifically, but maybe more reflective on our problems as a nation. And
every day
we struggle with gun violence.
Calling that in. Yeah. No, sure.
On Tuesday, a rioter threw a rock into and set fire to an ICE building in Washington state. Now, For this one, this was not an ICE building. This was an office in which part of it was being used by ICE. They threw a rock into a window.
Someone took a virtual meeting there in a Starbucks in the building.
Yeah, it's a co-working space.
It's an ICE building. Yeah.
And so they threw a rock, it broke a window, and then there was also a fire set on the backside of the property. The building was not set on fire. There was a small fire set, and they are pursuing it as arson charges. But Assistant Secretary DHS Tricia McLaughlin said, quote, "From comparisons to the modern-day Nazi Gestapo to glorifying rioters, the violent rhetoric of these sanctuary politicians is beyond the pale." That was her response to that situation. Was a rock through a window. Nobody got hurt. No issues. And they put out the fire.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If the rhetoric fits, like I don't know. I don't know. Again, we went through what this article thinks is inflamed, exaggerated rhetoric, and it's literally just factual statements about what's happening. And so if we have that, if we have people describing what's happening in factual terms, and we have, by the way, communities are seeing people being ripped from the streets.
Yeah.
They're seeing it. There isn't even a mediation of rhetoric. They're actually seeing it, and they're saying, "Fuck this." What do you think? Oh, it's the word choices though of Rachel Maddow. That's really the difference here.
They said that Tim Walz calling them the Gestapo was sickening. They were sickening. I didn't want to hear it.
Okay.
Let's get to this last point. The last couple of points.
Let's see. There is a movement to unmask ICE agents, dox them, and encourage their harassment at their homes.
Hey, why do you think we have to unmask them? What's that about? It's almost like they're wearing masks all the time.
Yeah.
Remember during COVID when masks were the biggest threat to everything?
I know. That's all I can think about is like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are masks good or
there's
bad?
no other law enforcement that just goes out in the public wearing masks. Like you kind of suggest you might know you're doing something wrong, that people don't like very much. And doxing at this point, I mean, they've been throwing that word around. Doxing is basically just like using a nice officer's name in public. That's about it. All it takes.
Is it not publicly accessible information? I mean, I don't know about this, Matt, because when we work for the state, you can get our payroll. You can get everything.
Yeah. So they reclassified as a national security agency under Trump, and I think it's a lot harder to FOIA that kind of stuff now.
Okay.
And I will point out that I think we haven't talked about this, but in Irvine, California, there was the guy who had been posting pictures with names of ICE officers to warn people about ICE in their community, and they sent basically a military convoy to his house to interrogate his parents. Like the video of that was shocking. It's hard to believe that was in America, honestly, because they're coming down hard. And let's talk about this next sentence. Is actually very important.
The White House claims that ICE agents are facing a 700% surge in assaults. And John Oliver did break this down last night, but go for it, Matt.
From 1 to 7.
Yeah, it was 10 to 79, right?
Yep, that's right. That's what I got. And yeah, it's like, and it's been inflating throughout. It's kind of like the Arrested Development joke with Job's suit. The value of the suit, it just keeps going up all the way through, because it's just like it was
the guy with a 700% surge in himself.
Exactly. Tell me, No, it's really like
sorry, got it.
That's what I thought of, because I was finding different stories with different numbers like increasing throughout the year. But 700%. You think that's now there are a couple of reasons for that. First of all, I guess I want to state very clearly, and I've said this every time we've talked about this, but because of 18 U.S.C. 111 and because we're all nonviolent here, I just want to state very clearly that we do not support assaulting or getting in the way or in any way doing anything to threaten a ICE officer. That is not the purpose of anything we're talking about here. And anybody who takes that away from what we're saying is not hearing us. But the reason that these assaults have gone up, there's a couple of reasons. Yeah. One of them is that under the Biden administration and under the Obama administration, even under Trump, because it was COVID, most of Trump, they weren't in the streets that much. They were mostly just transferring people from state and local custody who'd been arrested for criminal offenses and putting them into immigration custody. So you hardly ever saw them in the community. And now suddenly they're everywhere in the community because they've been given these numbers. They have to do quotas now. Yeah. And now people are much more attuned to them because Trump was elected on the promise of the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
Right.
So the main reason that, and again, their definition of assault also, they've been pushed by this in the media. I don't know if John Oliver got into this, but they will not give the details. They won't break it down.
No, they won't. I mean, they call what Brad Lander did, the New York comptroller, assault. Right. And
or Ross Baraka, right?
That's insane.
Exactly. So that's, I mean, again,
there's one of your 79 apparently.
It's professional reverse victimhood. And Andy Ngo is such a good example of this. He's been a professional reverse victim for 10 years at least.
Yeah.
And the way they exaggerate it, wildly out of control. I mean, it's just, that is so fascist. Like, it just is the epitome of fascism.
Yeah. And it's classic fascism, because fascism have to both be like the most powerful people and the worst victims, right?
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
people that they're arresting are both, terrible little rats that have to be taken out of their holes, and they're also in charge of everything.
And then they put their boot on you, and they he scratched my boot. Yeah. Assault,
I mean, you remember there's a famous case with the guy who bled on a cop while they were beating him, and they charged him with damaging property, right? That kind of stuff. I mean, but I mean, this is, and it's time-honored tradition for cops.
That predates this. That's just the base level cop fascism. That's just the normal, like the cosmic microwave background. It's just the police fascism background.
Always there.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
These attackers evidently take the idea that ICE is an American Gestapo all too seriously.
Why? Why did they take it seriously? I wonder why. Maybe because it is. I don't know.
ICE agents are simply doing their job, which is...
You might even say that they're just following orders.
Well, was the Gestapo not doing their job? Were they doing they were doing a different person's job. The actual job that they were hired to do is clean up
accounting.
Trash.
Yeah. And they just went out and went nuts. Yeah.
Gestapo means accountant, actually, in another language. Yeah. That's the problem. They were doing other people's jobs. But these people are just doing their jobs. They're just following orders. It's fine.
If you watch those videos of people and you think they're doing their job, you're a fascist. Like, there's just something wrong with you, right? If you think that's
you might be a fascist. We need is that guy a fascist?
Yeah,
you might be a redneck or whatever. We need him
probably. Most of the way to. Yeah.
We need him to do a "you might be a fascist" bit.
We should play a quick video actually of ICE doing their job. I got the first one I sent you there. It's a very quick clip, just to remind people, because I think the visuals are important.
Yeah, let me cue it up here.
Now, imagine you're sitting in your car. This is a mother sitting in her car with her children. And this just happens when you're sitting at a traffic stop or whatever.
No!
1 sec. Oh, wow, that goes right in today's
you can
this day and
hear
age.
The fascism.
Yeah, it just goes right into the fascism. Okay. Sorry, that was me turning down the volume, hopefully. All right, let's see.
Here we go.
No te preocupes, Karen, no te preocupes. Tranquilo. Tranquila, mamá. Mi teléfono no se preocupe. No se preocupe. Wait! Don't grab her like that! Mommy, no! Mommy!
ICE says that Elsie Barrios is an illegal alien, Salvadoran national, and an affiliate of the violent transnational street gang MS-13. Border Patrol arrested Barrios in 2017 after she...
All right. But I mean, just that opening shot of a masked man smashing your window in. There's another one. We don't have to keep going, but there's another one where the guy is like, I'm going to smash your window. And if you don't open the door, and then like 2 seconds later, he smashes the window. There's just so many of those. Yeah. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. That is fascism. That's the other ones aren't masked, at least. But there's also, I wanted to talk about Emiliano's. I don't know if you heard about this a couple of days ago in Pittsburgh. I sent you the other video. We should watch a few seconds of that. Okay. This is what they've been up to. Now, there's another video I'm not going to show you, but you can clearly see them stealing, actually just walking out. And it would require playing this whole TikTok explanation. But let's just watch a little of this. This is the owner talking about her experience with ICE raiding them a couple of days ago. And seeing the aftermath. One of the guys is still hanging around.
Yeah, look at this.
How do I full screen this?
Now notice the drinks fridge, empty.
Insurance is going to love this. Yeah. They didn't show me any warrants.
Ceiling tiles ripped out.
They didn't show me nothing. I have a little basket with money there. Should I leave it there or should I take it?
Don't touch anything.
Okay. No, Mingo already got everything.
I know, there's nothing. And you said the kitchen's on fire?
Yeah, they just left the kitchen on fire.
Why would they turn the kitchen on fire?
Just left the burners going.
No, sir, you may not. I'm sorry, but this is wrong.
Why is she here? I don't know. Here she is. Hold on, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Hello.
So they posted along with this video that the walk-in fridge was emptied. They just took all the food. And there's a video of so outside, you got the 3 vans pulling up to take the workers away. And then in the back, they pulled up their personal vehicles and just took a bunch of stuff. And this is before we have grown this force to the size it's going to be. It's going to quadruple in the next few years, but in time for the next election, it's going to be 4 times bigger. And it's going to be the best funded federal operation in American history. And this is something we have to talk about now. And that's why it's important to use this kind of language when we're talking about it now. So that's what they're doing when they're doing their jobs, is they're taking busboys and kitchen workers and destroying businesses, small American businesses, and stealing from them, just openly taking things out the back. You can link to the full video another time, but let's keep going here.
ICE agents are simply doing their job, which is a function of the legitimate power of the federal government to regulate immigration and to expel those with no legal right to live or work in this country.
And to take any beverages that happen to be nearby. That's their job.
Yeah. I mean, that is a literal description of what ICE is statutorily supposed to do. So good job, National Review. Cool. All right, let's keep going.
ICE officers only take steps to protect their identity because they are facing violent resistance. They obviously are nothing like the Gestapo. The Gestapo arrested people for political crimes without any judicial process.
Hold on. Wait a minute. ICE would never arrest people for political crimes without any judicial process. Mahmoud Khalil, Rameza Ozturk, Madani from Vermont, you might remember. Those were all straight up political offenses. They're charged purely for things that they said in public that were not crimes.
Right.
But they had all kinds of due process, right, Matt?
Yeah. And lots of due process. Yeah. The only reason that those people are out right now is because we have decent federal judges that, but if they had just been left to the immigration courts, they would have been still in custody.
Right.
And Mahmoud Khalil, as it was, of course, missed the birth of his child and had to be there for months. Rameza Ozturk had multiple medical incidents while she was in Louisiana. Just terrible we're doing to these people. But immigration enforcement has a long history of politically motivated enforcement. Going back to John Lennon, right? They tried to deport John Lennon just because they didn't like what he was talking about, Vietnam. And, they have a long history, well before Trump, of going after activists for things that they've said in public. They'll just go and arrest them and try to deport them. Of going after, there's a famous case in Washington of a guy whose wife was in a sting. This is so strange. I don't know if you heard about this one. But there was some kind of arrangement where she was going to sell some piñatas, and ICE grabbed this ad and came and met her in a parking lot and picked her up. And so he went public with this, told the media what had happened to her, and they drove hundreds of miles to find him in a lake somewhere and arrested him just for talking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff they do. And no doubt, as they get more power, that we're going to see more and more of this. Now, again, the Gestapo were political police. That was their main job, was to go after enemies of the Nazi Party. But of course, very important to remember that Jews were across the board were political enemies of the Nazi Party. So that's, these were political arrests too.
You'll see a word that's not used in the next sentence, in the rest of the sentence anyway. They attacked partisan enemies of the Nazi Party, and they secretly monitored religious organizations, among other crimes and hideous acts. Conveniently leaving out a pretty significant group of people that the Nazis were not, fond of.
Yeah.
So
that the Gestapo were particularly responsible for. And I will also mention, if you're talking about attacking partisan enemies of the Nazi Party, you did already mention Brad Lander, of course, being arrested for interfering or allegedly for just asking questions. We had Raz Baraka. We had Monica McIver, right, in New Jersey, arrested together. I think McIver's still facing federal charges, and they're alleging that somehow she did something wrong in a public space. And, of course, after 9/11, they were secretly monitoring mosques all over the place. No question about that, getting informants. But, I like how the National Review has to be sure to say that these are crimes and hideous acts, things that ICE would never do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it seems like the key difference right now, because there is a difference, as you say, there is a difference, but the key difference seems to be that sometimes there's checks on their power.
Right.
It doesn't seem to be in what they're doing. It doesn't seem to be in how they're arresting people. They're with no due process. They're sending them off to foreign death camps, essentially, with some of these. But the only difference seems to be that there's sometimes judges that can tell them to stop, or other pressures that tell them to stop. And that seems to be it. It's not their internal restraint.
That's not even a difference, because in 1933, they were still bound by German law. But within a few years, they declared themselves through decree. They declared that they were completely outside of courts and any kind of law. They were not accountable to the people or the parliament. And they actually set up special Gestapo and SS tribunals that would judge themselves. So you can imagine how that worked. But I mean, I found an example even like in 1933 of a man who was murdered by the Gestapo. Everybody knew that, and they said that he killed himself. His family was trying to collect the life insurance, and life insurance said that he'd killed himself and he couldn't collect. And they sued and tried to get discovery, basically to show that the Gestapo had killed this man. And they took his lawyer for making these statements and filing this claim. They took his lawyer to a camp. And that was sort of, but at the time, they were still in a time when the lawyers would feel comfortable actually taking this to court. Right. So that tells you something, right? Yeah. This is not just, and people think about like somehow people just woke up in Nazi Germany and there's jackboots in the streets, right? This stuff happens slowly.
Yeah.
And it did happen pretty fast in 33, but it's still, All right, let's keep going.
ICE enforces the laws that are on our books, which say that illegal immigrants shall be detained until their immigration proceedings reach a conclusion.
This is an interesting combination of statements.
Yeah.
So first of all, the first statement you could have said about the Gestapo in January 1933 or April 1933, right? They're enforcing the laws that are on the books.
Orders, just doing the laws.
And basically, like they were doing criminal enforcement. And one thing to mention, I think there's going to be an opportunity to mention this later, but I do want to mention very clearly, and we'll talk about this more on Friday. But the thing that made the Gestapo was that they federalized. They actually brought all of the police in Germany under their control, which ICE is trying to do right now by eliminating sanctuary policies.
You see that here and there,
But not only with DC, what you just saw, where they're literally the federal government's taking it over, but with the 287G agreements that you and I have talked about on opening arguments with. There's now 900 287G agreements where they're working directly with local police. And that is what concerns me more than anything out of all of this. But the second half of this sentence, the alleging that the laws in our books say that illegal immigrants shall be detained until immigration proceedings reach a conclusion. That is not what they say. This is a weird sideways way to support that ICE memo that we talked about a few weeks ago that says that everybody should be detained all the time.
Yeah. How does it actually, what do the laws actually say on that, man?
Well, until recently, there was a presumption against detention, and it's generally presumed that you have a right to, unless the government can show otherwise, and that's certainly the law here in the First Circuit as well. But it's not. There's not mandatory detention for everybody who's here without permission. Mandatory detention is only for a very select group of people, and it's mostly the people you would imagine that already have a dangerous record, or anything that resembles. I mean, honestly, you can get mandatory detention for minor drug possession. But
so that's a new thing. That's a thing that changed and is therefore something that we could complain about and call fascist. Because this article wants to represent this. This is just how it is. It's just the law is like this. It's fine. If they change the law, I guess you could call it the law with an executive order. Sometimes it has that effect, I guess. But if they changed it to be even more fascist, then that's them becoming even more fascist recently.
And doing the thing that they did that we've talked about on the show, where they just issued a memo and said, gaslighting us completely and just saying this is what the law is and has always been, which nobody believes. That is as Gestapo-like as you can get, just saying this is the law and we're the law now. Let's go to the next sentence. I can get more mad.
Yeah, it's like sentence by sentence. You have so much to say.
If anything, those proceedings tend to provide overly generous due process to illegal immigrants.
Yeah, too much due process.
Overly generous.
Even with the stepped up ICE enforcement, by the way, mass defiance of our immigration laws with millions of illegal immigrants working and living here is still the norm.
So if anything, they're not being fascist enough. That's what we're saying here, I guess.
If Democrats don't like immigration laws, they can run campaigns to change them. But not too long ago, Democrats wanted to expand ICE. None other than Tim Walz supported the Langford Bill late in the Biden administration that would have brought a threefold increase in ICE's annual budget. So did all but 5 Democratic senators.
Okay, this is the single most disingenuous thing in this article, and if you blink, you might miss it. You might remember for last February when Trump kept Republicans from passing the big border bill that Democrats were willing to sign on to. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was actually a threefold increase. I looked it up and it was about adding $7 billion to ICE's annual budget. With the new budget bill, we're adding $75 billion over the next 4 years. So I think that's a lot more than $7 billion. But I just want to point out the first sentence, Democrats have been running campaigns to change immigration laws for decades.
Yeah.
That's like one thing they've been running on for a long time.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say. If Democrats don't like immigration laws, they can run campaigns to change. Yeah, they're doing that.
They have, and they have not been able to because Republicans refuse to do anything that looks like giving anybody a break. And it's so toxic at this point that we may never pass another major immigration bill again. And I don't want to pass one right now as it is.
Yeah.
But the Langford Bill, I mean, that was a joke. You might remember that it was holding Ukraine funding hostage.
Right.
And I didn't support the bill. I thought it was too much, but there are a lot of Democrats who were willing to.
Yeah, it was an interesting gambit. I mean, it was at a time when boy, isn't it crazy to remember way back when?
Yeah.
In what is this? So you're saying it was last February?
Yeah, I looked it up.
It was a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Holy crap, that feels way more recent than that. But yeah, it was a gambit to because on an issue at that time that here I feel like a historian because I remember pretty clearly a year and a half ago. Everybody, but yeah, like it was that at that time, immigration and the border was looked at as a losing issue for Democrats, a very badly losing issue, and it was a gambit to say, okay, you want something done about it? Here, Republicans, here's a bill, and yeah, we talked about it at the time, and I'll be honest, I still don't know what the right answer is there.
Yeah.
Like I think there is merit to what they did. I think that's one of those things where I get why people voted for it. I get why. When it comes to Democratic senators, I get why Democratic senators voted for it. I get why Democratic senators voted against it.
Right.
And I feel like it's unfair to say there's a really clear answer there because I think there was value in that approach at that time. It showed us at that time that Trump was 100% in control of this cuck Congress, this absolute worthless House that just does whatever Trump wanted. Because it was Mike Johnson then, right? It was him at the time. I can't
think so.
To quote another Arrested Development, her. And he just called him and said no, and then that killed the bill. So somebody wasn't a convicted felon that was not. Oh wait, was he convicted at the time? I can't remember. Maybe he wasn't convicted yet.
February he was not.
Yeah. Soon to be convicted felon who wasn't in any political office at that time. Just got to kill a bill. It's amazing. And it showed us what was going on there. And so there was merit to that. But the idea that justifies this, well, they were for that. They voted for under Biden an increase in ICE funding. So what right have they to say that all this is wrong?
It's also just like so disingenuous because they're trying to make it seem like that's what the bill was. Just like this one line item. Okay, vote for this. And absent anything else.
Yeah.
And look, all the Democrats were in favor of increasing ICE's budget and like taking away, stripping of it, of all the nuance, all the conversations and the debates and stuff that were happening within the party and across the aisle, et cetera, and just pretending like it was this simple one line item thing that they said yay or nay to.
Or there's other line items, but the line items were bash in ladies' windows, steal, it had all that, and Democrats were like, we like this because it's under Biden.
More of that, please.
Yeah, we like it now.
Yeah. Oh, and you know who else voted against the Langford bill was James Langford because Trump told him to vote against his own bill to kill it. And also that I did look up the sort of the line items on the budget, and only $535 million of that $7.6 billion I mentioned was going to go to hiring. So I don't know what they're talking about here.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's just some other way of lying with statistics. I'm sure. I did want to shout out that of the 5 Democratic senators mentioned, both of them both of my senators were represented.
Nice,
as often happens.
One of ours, I think, right?
Yes,
Padilla. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
California, for those who don't know.
Let's keep going. Yeah, that's
right. There are questions about the legality and wisdom of some of Trump's immigration actions.
To be sure.
There are questions.
Well, granted.
Surely questions exist.
Look, there are some problems with the fascism happening right now.
Especially the deportation of alleged MS-13 members, like the old lady we saw in the video earlier, right. to an El Salvador prison earlier this year.
So this is another one of the factual inaccuracies in this story.
Yeah.
30 of those people probably were actually, because 30 people were from El Salvador, so 30 of them might have been MS-13, because that's Salvadoran, right? The other 250 were from Venezuela, and they were alleging were from Trinidad, and they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the media fully covered this, but like most of the people did not have credible allegations of gang membership against them and generally just had tattoos.
And we still don't know all those people, right? I mean, I feel like there's something about the flight manifest where we're still trying to uncover who was taken where. And
they've all been released. They're all back in Venezuela.
Oh, okay.
Venezuelans are. The Salvadorans, except for Abrego Garcia, are still there. But we do know that some of the Salvadorans were actually hardened gang members that Salvador was looking for.
Sure.
Just a few, just enough that they could say. But just to sort of characterize this as the deportation of alleged MS-13 members, that they're still trying to show you that it was okay to send them there, right? That's what they always do with these.
There's questions. There's like questions, but it's mostly fine.
They're still probably bad.
Here's the big but.
In the big picture, though, what we've seen at the border and in ICE's enforcement actions is an administration that finally is taking our immigration laws seriously.
That's one way to say it.
That Democrats view this as incipient Nazism is another indication of their opposition to immigration enforcement as such, and is an indictment of them. And is an indictment of them, not the ICE agents doing their duty.
Well, the indictments are coming in a few years, I think. Against us, but
do the Democrats feel the need to cover their faces and mask over what they're doing, or in terms of who should be more shamed of what they're doing? Is it the ICE agents just doing their duty, or is it the these representatives?
Yeah. Also, if the Democrats are going to be doing campaigns to change immigration laws, wouldn't some of this rhetoric that they're calling out and saying you're anti-American earlier in the article be part of that campaign to change immigration laws?
Exactly. This is ridiculous.
So dumb.
What asshole wrote this?
So vapid. The editors.
All of the assholes.
Yeah. It could be any combination of the editors.
How many assholes we got on this national review, anyhow?
Took quite a few of them in this baby.
We don't know specifically. The
editors. That's incredible.
They co-signed this piece of shit. Yeah,
I, for one, am not. I'm canceling my subscription. All right. Well, we can take a break right now.
Yeah, I think we should.
Is that a good time? Let's take a break.
Take a breath.
Podcast listeners and video people, we'll just see us do this again. Do nothing. All right. What is the next item on our agenda?
Okay. All right. So now we have somebody who should know better being very stupid about the Department of Justice and Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I thought this was a good follow-up. This is one I wanted to do last week. I think you'll be able to spot the problem with this pretty quickly but it is so willfully stupid in a way that I just love for this program. It's exactly the kind of thing I was looking for. So just remind everybody while you're pulling this up, of course, I think
I don't know what I'm pulling up.
I put it up in Slack.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Where you
Kilmer Abrego Garcia was a Maryland father who was specifically ordered by an immigration judge not to be deported to El Salvador. He had a standing order that he could not be deported there because of problems he'd had with gangs, not because he was a gang member, but because he was defending his mother from gang members in El Salvador. So he was deported along with the other people we were just talking about to El Salvador, the CCOT. And he spent quite a while in El Salvador. He was brought back just last month. So this author, who is a former judge, who I went looking at some of his other stuff, it's not unreasonable. He's a pretty normal kind of middle-of-the-road liberal in most other things.
Yeah.
I don't know why he wrote this or what he was thinking when he wrote this. And I just have to say, this is just dumbass stuff. This is so stupid. It's like the most baby-brained, smooth-brained, idiotic take you could possibly have on why he was brought back. So let's just get into it.
So far from the title, just why was Kilmar Abrego Garcia returned to the U.S.?
Well, let's remember that it was the Supreme Court said specifically that he had to be brought back. That should be enough. That should have been why he was brought back.
Yeah, isn't it? I don't even know what the click. Normally titles are a little more clickbaity than that. I don't know what this is even getting at. Okay,
sure. Yeah, but it was ordered. It was found, of course, that he was, and they admitted it was a mistake, and they still weren't going to bring him back.
Right.
The Supreme Court ordered that he had to be facilitated, and of course, Nayib Bukele said they couldn't let him out, and Trump said he couldn't arrange it, and they were just going to keep him in there. And they found a very creative way to bring him back, which, just to remind everybody before we get started, was to charge him with a bunch of completely nonsense crimes, which have since the time of this article, been pretty well exposed as based in nothing. And also, well, we'll get into it more, but let's read.
All right. If you've moved on to the latest Trump spectacle in Los Angeles, you may have underrated the monumental importance of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's return from El Salvador. It's a watershed moment. The Justice Department has decided to obey the law.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, that first one, I rolled my eyes when I read that. From its earlier behavior with this migrant, it wasn't clear that obeying the law was among the department's priorities.
Sorry.
Yeah, this starts like I would start it. It seems sarcastic, right? Like, wow, watershed moment. Yeah. They're gonna they decided to obey the fucking law.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas read it.
It does
so
feel
far,
very
I feel
Thomas Smith.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine
it wasn't clear that obeying law was among the department's priorities. Yeah, this is sarcastic. Am I crazy?
No, it's totally straight ahead. I actually read in the margin here, from Epstein's earlier behavior with minors, it wasn't clear that obeying the law was among his priorities. Behavior.
This is kind of sarcastic. There's no way that from its earlier behavior with this migrant, it wasn't clear that obeying the law was among the department's priorities. There's no way that's not like.
I don't know. Really generous.
I think that he is just kind of blind, but I think he's kind of a straight shooter.
He's a real institutionalist. He's a former judge. He wants to believe.
Yeah, but he's being critical of them, is what I'm saying. Like he's critical.
Trying. He's acknowledging.
Yeah, and then giving them kudos for obeying the law, but I don't think it's with any hint of sarcasm. I think he's like, good, that's what we want to see.
Oh, he was just like,
this is not the Onion.
Yeah. We weren't sure if they were going to follow, the laws or anything.
This could be an Onion editorial. It's just a few tweaks if they made it like a little more hyperbole.
Okay.
But
all right.
Yeah, but I just love the editorial behavior with this migrant.
Yeah.
Such a weird, dehumanizing way to. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
Abrego
Garcia had a court order forbidding his deportation to his native El Salvador. ICE sent him there anyway, and the Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to, quote, facilitate his return.
And that's why he should have been brought back.
The Justice Department ignored the order for months, mocking the authority of Judge Paula Zenis as she tried to implement the facilitation ruling. Government lawyers pretended not to understand what facilitate meant. They dragged their feet, squabbling about court deadlines and document requests. Administration officials and the president of El Salvador repeatedly said Abrego Garcia wouldn't be returned. But in a stunning reversal, Abrego Garcia is back in the United States. In an equally stunning admission, President Donald Trump said that the Justice Department made the decision without him.
Okay. The Justice Department was supposed to make all of its decisions without the president.
Wow,
that's a really important part of being the president.
Yeah.
This is so bad.
Wow.
Stunning reversal, stunning admission. Like just the fact that like they did the right thing, folks. I saw some takes like this. I'd have never seen anything this bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
From a judge as well.
They tried to put a fig leaf over the whole thing. The White House said Abrego Garcia was returned so he could be prosecuted as an, quote, illegal alien terrorist, gang member, and human trafficker who has spent his entire life abusing innocent people, especially women and the most vulnerable. But they didn't mean it. The only thing the government has charged Abrego Garcia with is transporting illegal aliens. The indictment mouths off about Abrego Garcia being an MS-13 gang member who transported guns and sexually abused migrant women, but regardless of whether he is a good guy or not, he hasn't been charged with any gang crimes, gun crimes, or sex crimes.
This whole editorial is so like schizo. It can't make up its mind because it really seems like he's saying there's a bunch of bad stuff. They ignored court orders. They made a mockery of the system, and then they charged him with this stuff, and it wasn't what they said it was going to be. And then he's going to conclude by saying this is great.
How is this great?
This means...
Stay tuned.
This means the administration didn't bring Abrego Garcia back because it had grave charges to bring against him. More likely, Justice Department lawyers, perhaps even including Attorney General Pam Bondi, are stepping back from their ultra-Trump-pleasing pronouncements and remembering that they are lawyers, not Fox News personalities. I had to write this down because I was like, this is the silliest thing I've ever read.
I can't even, this is confusing. Like, it's hard to even follow the weird mindset of what this is written from.
If they remembered they were lawyers, they would have followed the actual Supreme Court order that told them to bring him back in the first place.
It's just like, it's so out of touch. He is absolutely blind to the kind of people these are. And I think it's, to your point, Matt, this institutionalist idea, right? Like, I think he thinks that lawyers just need to remember that they're lawyers and they're part of this grand system. And they will always they'll always end up doing the right thing because they're bound by ethics and they're bound by the, justice and these like high ideals. And it's like, but we're also talking about human beings. And there are some people who are just inherently flawed and evil. And unfortunately, we're looking at a lot of those people in the administration. So even because they have a JD after their name, it does not make them better than the people who are doing these batshit insane things for Trump.
Often especially because, and also, I mean, he's acknowledging that they lied about the thing they were going to charge him with. So he can't go as far as to think that maybe they actually lied about the thing they charged him with too. Just, regardless of whether
this is crazy. So he's like, wow, hey, everybody, I have read the tea leaves and they actually didn't bring him back because they had crimes to charge him with. It's like, everybody knew that. Like, there's not a single person who thought that was real. Right? Am I crazy?
And he says it's a fig leaf, and yet he's still saying it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, and then so he's taking that as a sign that now they're all serious people. This is the day that Pam Bondi became whatever.
And
not just a Fox News blonde.
I also think like it's completely ignoring all the instances we've had of career prosecutors leaving, of whistleblowers we've had in these various departments that are like, I will not cast aside my ethical duty to go along with you being willing to cast aside yours to curry favor from one man who happens to be president of the United States.
Including the man who was supposed to indict Abrego Garcia, who quit the day that he was indicted.
Right.
The U.S. attorney. I want to credit that again.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Perhaps just in time. Oh, I love this.
Yeah, nick of time.
And perhaps it's just in time. It comes at the moment when Judge Zenis is beginning the sanctions process that could mean misconduct penalties against the Justice Department and its lawyers for stonewalling over Abrego Garcia. It also follows an ethics complaint against Pam Bondi filed in Florida by 70 people, including lawyers, former judges, and law professors. The complaint is specifically aimed at Bondi's alleged misconduct in forcing Justice Department lawyers to follow Trump and not the law. In light of these developments, Bondi and her team may be slowly recognizing that their right to practice law depends on adherence to ethical rules.
I knew that in 2005 when I was sworn into the bar, actually. I knew that before then. That my right to practice law does depend on it. I didn't slowly recognize, but also, okay.
Again, if you read this entire thing as sarcastic, it actually works.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That's probably not, but she may be slowly recognizing that your right to practice law depends on ethical rule. But it's straight up.
Right. And also, they should still continue the sanctions process. They still stonewalled. They still dragged their feet. They still broke court orders. Yeah. It doesn't save them.
He's trying to be like the sky is falling. He's Baghdad Bob or whatever. The bombs are falling in the background. He's like, great news. They just learned about this thing called ethics, and they are thrilled about it. They're like, ethics. I didn't know about that. Now that I know about ethics, I'll do that. What?
Yeah, she's seen the light.
And the horrific things, the horrific lies that they've created about him too. And willingly, putting that out there. And then he wants to give them a pat on the back because they didn't actually file those charges. They just talked about it a lot and completely degraded him in the media and made people believe these horrible things.
Yeah. Who is this written for?
I feel like he's writing it for DOJ. That was my best guess of just hey guys, just keep doing the right thing, please. Good job.
What is Newsweek? This is Newsweek.
Yeah.
Newsweek sucks now.
I haven't kept track of them. Are they shitty?
It's kind of, it went real bad.
Yeah, it's the process of normalizing the fascism of whitewashing and sanitizing it. Is that
of saying, look, justice finally was done. Even, they made some mistakes along the way, but here we are.
Learning process.
You're figuring it out.
And now they know there's rules they have to follow. And in fairness, how could they have known?
Those rules forbid lawyers from ignoring court orders, seeking frivolous delays, and making bogus claims about things like what facilitate means. Yeah. Bondi's playbook until now.
So she's done now. She's quit.
When judges do their jobs, lawyers who violate those rules may be fined, suspended, or disbarred. Bondi could face these kinds of penalties in Florida, and other lawyers at the Justice Department may find themselves facing similar charges. It's a good time for them to clean up their acts and avoid career-ending sanctions.
Knock it off, guys.
Who is this for?
It's incredible. And also, again, he's not addressing the fact that, and we know more now than we knew on June 11th when he published this, but the charges were bad faith. They were brought with informants who were completely unreliable, and they were clearly scrambling to find a way to bring charges so they could bring him back for that reason and save face. He doesn't acknowledge that. I mean, he says it's a fig leaf, right? But that should be its own sanctions. That should be its own investigation. That should be its own disbarment proceedings.
Right.
But anyway.
Other lawyers should follow their lead, in particular the prominent law firms who yielded to extortion demands from Donald Trump requiring them to do free work for his pet causes should rethink their choices. Collaborating with an extortionist rather than reporting him is a serious breach of legal ethics. Other law firms stood up to Trump, and so should they.
I think I know what this is. It's gentle parenting.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
He thinks if he's really, instead of getting all mad about these people being unethical fascists, he's like, good job. They learn, they use their inside voices, and they put their big boy pants on. They recognize that there's rules that they have to follow.
There were some ethical problems, but I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
But we worked through it. We had a rough day ethics-wise, but we worked our way back to normal.
But the next time, what could we do differently?
Yeah, differently. Now, there's consequences to when you violate people's rights. Do you understand that why they were upset? Oh, you do. Okay. That's all this could be. I seriously, I genuinely think that's the closest thing I can come up with for why you would write this.
He thinks they've learned something. Or they could,
or he's trying to I'm giving him a little more credit in that he's trying to make it manifest it into their minds.
Yeah,
take this opportunity, please. Just normalize, become normal.
It'll be bad next time.
People did that with Trump a lot in the first thing. Maybe he's normal now.
Just trying
he's
this
just being
tactic.
president now. Yeah. Because otherwise, I don't understand this at all.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
Likewise, the lawyers representing both parties
that was it.
No, we're almost done. Okay. Likewise, the lawyers representing both parties in Trump's personal lawsuit against CBS should consider their futures as the negotiations drag on. They know Trump's lawsuit is frivolous and that CBS wants to settle only because Trump controls the Federal Communications Commission and it can block the sale of CBS parent to its would-be purchaser, Skydance. Those lawyers are negotiating a bribe. And what happened there?
Yeah, I was going to say, I can very much sympathize with telling your kid, hey, and you should probably, not spill your food all over the floor, right? We should probably not do that. 10 seconds later. All right. Well, they spilled it all over the floor. They did that despite the warning, because this didn't turn out either. But maybe he was just trying to, maybe he was trying to manifest it into their brains.
Ask Stephen Colbert how that went. So let's hope they wise up and act like the lawyers who defeated Trump's extortion demands in court. If they do, there's hope that the Justice Department's decision to obey the Supreme Court and return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States represents a trend. Lawyers are remembering that their duty is to the rule of law and not the whims of one man.
That's so funny.
Oh,
that's not happening. So that's no.
Thomas G. Malkosher is the lawyer with his first day on Earth today, and he's like, what is happening?
And the whims of one man. I mean, again, Trump obviously went out in public and said, well, I didn't tell them what to do or how to bring him back. But clearly there was some kind of angry Stephen Miller type meeting where they yelled at everybody and they're like, find some way to not comply with the Supreme Court, but bring him back anyway. We're going to figure this out. Yeah. And DOJ went back and came up with this. They cooked it up.
Well, and here's the thing too, like you can tell because when someone does something that Trump doesn't like he makes it known, right? They are always making their choices based on what's going to make him happy, even if he doesn't explicitly say it. And I think they can all tell what he wants and what he doesn't want at this point.
It's so bleak and cynical to say this was following the rule of law, to come up with bad faith, trumped up, stupid charges that were based on informants who have every reason to lie about anything that they're told to lie about so they can get out of being deported to the CCON themselves.
Right.
It's just, so... You can see why I wanted to
gentle
get
parenting.
To this one.
So your kid has had an absolute horrific day. They've punched you. They've punched other kids. They've made a mess. They've written on the walls. They've done all that. But what you're supposed to do, and this is true, you can listen to Dear Old Dads for more parenting advice, but what you got to do is you got to seize on that one fucking thing they did at the end of the day. Hey, remember how you got your jammies on yourself?
I'm so proud of how independent
that was
you were
so
in that
good.
moment.
I think that represents a trend toward obeying the courts is what I think. That represents, let's let this be turning over a new leaf. Yeah. Tomorrow's a new day. Yeah. Good job, buddy.
The worst, there was some equivalent of editorials like this just to bring this back to the beginning, in 1933. There were definitely newspapers that were like, this Enabling Act thing, it looks pretty bad, but Hitler knows he's not going to completely take total power. I mean, he knows that the law still binds him, right? And hopefully he'll do the right thing. There were people writing things like that, I'm sure.
This is just this is just the most irrelevant, worthless thing I could imagine writing.
And here we are.
Who is this for? It's not for anybody. Oh boy.
Yep.
Well,
so,
sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I hope that Thomas Mercusauer learned something and maybe doesn't write like this again because he is capable of having decent opinions.
My mic keeps falling down. Sorry. Well, I think we're just about out of time. So you know what I want to do is last week for patrons only, we had some Dershowitz. It was so fun. It was Dershowitz being refused. Was it pierogi?
Yeah, pierogi.
Oh boy. I wanted to do a follow-up, and I think maybe I'll do it for everybody. Because it'll be worth it. But I had you guys not look at this.
Yeah.
So we'll take our last quick break here, and then I can't wait to get some follow-up to last week's patron-only story.
All right.
So now I got to find that. You had it in that document. Do you mind pasting it for me again?
Yep.
Oh, so much fun. So
it looks like it starts with the previous.
Yeah, it's not for the video. It's for the article. So.
Oh, okay. You're reading it for the article.
Yeah.
And you're going to read it to us, right?
Yeah. I think we can, let me make sure. This was the one I sent you?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Let's see. I wanted to share this with you folks because it touches on another thing that I've found infuriating lately. Well, we'll get to it, but this was the fallout after last week, after we covered Dershowitz again, making a whole fuss and having a whole interaction with a really patient police officer that for once I was kind of on the side of the police in this instance. This guy who had to recognized instantly that he was in a debate with the biggest asshole in the world who had to, all these legal bona fides or whatever, and had to shift into like, you're not going to talk this guy out of whatever it is. Anyway, so there's more. We've gotten more clarity on this, and actually, it's all right. Here, I'll pull it up. Alan Dershowitz. Oh, maybe I can zoom in here. Here we go. Once again, denied pierogi as Martha's Vineyard residents chant "Time to go." Oh, so it's amazing. And now we get now we're going to get into the vendor himself. So the legend, the man, the myth, the fucking legend, this pierogi vendor that had refused to sell him. I'm very surprised that you're here because of the things that you've been saying about us and the business online. The pierogi vendor told Alan Dershowitz on Wednesday. Okay, so yeah, well, why don't you read it, huh? I like hearing your reading voice better.
All right. For the second week in a row, Alan Dershowitz was denied pierogi at a farmer's market in Martha's
This
Vineyard.
just in, everybody. A second pierogi denial has hit the World Trade Center.
Marking yet another summer of social angst at the exclusive enclave for the former Jeffrey Epstein lawyer.
That's a great
sentence.
And I mean, they're I think
writing.
referencing a Larry David, situation that we talked about as part of that patron bonus
Well,
too, which is super fun.
Sure, but I think they're more referencing when he wrote like that people won't talk to me at Martha's Vineyard or whatever.
Yeah, well, he's just having problems.
Yeah.
He's having problems.
That's so funny.
Following days of legal threats and accusations of anti-Semitism lobbed at the owners of Good Pierogi after last week's incident when the vendor denied him service, Dershowitz showed back up on Wednesday to once again purchase some potato stuffed dumplings in, quote, an effort to try to restore community.
Restorative justice through pierogi.
Restore community. So, this guy is so fucking full of himself.
Yeah.
The community's doing fine without
they're
him,
fine, man.
They don't need
you want to restore community here? Just don't come.
Yeah.
They're great without
Just
you.
be
Well,
done
actually,
with the farmers
it looks like he's
market,
bringing
sir.
people together, I got to say. He's
True. Here we go.
With a large crowd of supporters backing them, the vendor refused to back down against the famed defense attorney and continued to rebuff Dershowitz's pleas for pierogi. Pleas for pierogi.
This is very well written.
Yes.
This is great.
Leaving him empty-handed once again. Time to go, the supporters chanted. Go home, Alan.
Yeah.
Last week, Dershowitz put the West Hisbury Farmers Market in the national spotlight when he threatened legal action after Good Pierogi owner Krem Miskovich refused to serve him. Dershowitz would tell police officers on the scene that he was the victim of discrimination and later posted to social media that he was suing the, quote, bigoted vendor for denying him pierogi, quote, for political reasons.
This is what I want to highlight. He's crying bigotry. Oh, he's bigoted. And then we talked about this last week, so I won't go too much on it, but it's just a great follow-up to that. So according to this fuckface, Dershowitz, this is a anti-Semitic, hateful guy who's just denying him pierogi because he hates Jews and all that. Like he just gets to say that, Dershowitz just gets to claim that. And so there's more, we get to learn a little more about this whole thing here. Oh, I got to scroll past the, there we go.
Saying that much of the backlash against him centered on his defense of Donald Trump and Epstein, the deceased sex offender who has been back in the news, Dershowitz has also insisted that this is really about his Jewish heritage and fervent support for Israel.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, Dershowitz passed out flyers at the market that accused vendors of being anti-Semitic. Following that up with a tweet this week that claimed that Good Pierogi's food was, quote, tainted with the poison of anti-Semitism, while urging others to boycott the establishment.
It's worse. Okay, here we go.
God.
Read this next paragraph.
Quote, as I correctly suspected, the bigot who refused to sell me pierogi, Krem Miskovich, is a notorious anti-Semite who is part of an anti-Semitic organization that protests Jewish, not only Israeli, cultural events and doesn't believe in Israel's right to exist or to respond to what these haters regard as the, quote, justified massacres of October 7th. He posted on Monday, adding, quote, don't patronize anti-Semites who refuse to sell to Jewish Zionists.
Okay, so we got one side of the story.
Yeah.
That's Dershowitz's side. Let's see if the article's gonna do. This is great. This article fucking rules. Let's go. Let's figure out who this person really is.
Miscavige, who uses they/them pronouns, has yet to speak to the press about the kerfuffle, but did post on Good Pierogi's Instagram account a lengthy response to Dershowitz's accusations and what sparked the incident last week. Miscavige, who co-owns Good Pierogi with their spouse Lily Rose, said they, quote, experienced a surge of emotion when Dershowitz appeared at their tent last week because he's represented and befriended, quote, several sexual predators and abusers, including Jeffrey Epstein.
And he's Jewish, No, that seems like it's about the sexual predators and all that. Okay.
Miscavige added that when it gave them pause to sell to Dershowitz, the Harvard Law emeritus, quote, began to harass us, misgender me, and film us without our consent. As for Dershowitz's anti-Semitism claims, Miscavige noted that they are Jewish.
There's step one. Okay, they're Jewish. Could it get worse for Dershowitz? Let's see.
And have immediate family members in Israel, noting that friends call them Rabbi Krem, and that they have personal relationships with other rabbis on the island.
Their nickname is Rabbi Krem.
Yeah. Quote, finally, we don't back down to bullies, no matter their size, Miscavige concluded the Tuesday Night Post. Despite calling on others to shun Good Pierogi over their bigotry, Dershowitz joined the long line of customers on Wednesday after the market opened, most of whom were there to show their support for the vendor amid Dershowitz's legal threats. With anticipation growing for another confrontation with media onlookers and supporters encircling the tent, Dershowitz made his way to the front of the line and claimed he was there to bring harmony back to the island. Just as long as Miscavige acknowledged they were in the wrong.
I'm sorry, Harmony's actually a 15-year-old he picked up in the mainland, but it's bringing her back to the island. It's pretty good of him.
Quote, I'm here in an effort to try to restore community and to ask you to sell me pierogi in the interest of keeping the island together. So we don't have to have two pierogi stands.
Two pierogi stands.
One for anti-Zionists and one for people who will sell to anybody, he declared. Oh my God. So I'd ask you to please just sell me any one of your products to show that you're prepared to sell to anybody.
Doesn't even have to be pierogi.
And not allow your anti-Zionism to decide which people you'll sell to. Okay. At the same time, he came armed with a paperback version of one of his books that he wanted to give Miscavige, which he also noted he had personally signed.
Just what they wanted.
Yeah, that's definitely sounds like copy. They are a big fan of you.
Yeah. Quote, I am very surprised that you're here because of the things that you've been saying about us and the business online, the Good Pierogi chef reacted. I really do not appreciate what you've been sharing in the last week. Dershowitz insisted that everything he said was true, prompting Miscavige to ask him to provide proof that they are anti-Semitic. Dershowitz pointed to Miscavige's participation in a protest outside the island's Jewish Culture Festival last year. Talia Weingarten, who helped organize that protest, pushed back on Dershowitz's generalization about the demonstration, claiming it was largely about taking a stand against genocide and oppression in Gaza. At the time of the protest, Weingarten told the Martha's Vineyard Times that it was to partially object to the appearance of music artist Matisyahu, who has been outspoken in his support of the Israeli Defense Force. Quote, we are here to reject the presence of someone who performs and fundraises for the Israeli occupation forces, and the AIPAC lobbying group condones violence against the Palestinian, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so it's fun. Very much
clarifying their position during that
having
protest.
Having a problem with the genocide happening.
Yeah, and the moneyed interests
and
of those
a
groups
musician who supports the IDF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair game.
At one point in the back and forth, Miscavige took issue with Dershowitz repeatedly misgendering them, prompting the high-profile lawyer to concede the point. You are they, you are them. I'm happy to use whatever pronouns you want, he said. Okay. Supporters of Good Pierogi eventually began clamoring for Dershowitz to leave while defending Miscavige, leading the celebrity attorney to accuse them of, quote, bigotry and sparking an even louder argument.
Oh, boy.
Quote, my grandparents died in the Holocaust. Don't you call me an anti-Semite, one customer shouted, while another added, quote, my Jewish culture is a history of resistance to genocide. We are not anti-Semites. We stand against the oppression of all people. Meanwhile, as Miscavige begged Dershowitz to stop being a bully and calling them bigots, he groused, quote, you're the one who won't sell me my pierogi.
Won't sell me my pierogi.
At this point, marketgoers began chanting, time to go, before the market manager stepped in and asked Dershowitz to leave.
Community. Sounds like community.
In the end, Dershowitz shuffled off without any pierogi, while the crowd loudly applauded. This time, at least, the police did not get involved.
Oh, boy, I think we could pause it there, but it's so good. I thought the left was the one who did the oppression Olympics and everything's bigotry. It couldn't be more the other way around. Every single thing to this fucking guy is anti-Semitism. And no matter how many times, and the narcissism of this fucking guy, the narcissism to be like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. This person clearly has a problem with me. They won't sell to me. I'm going to bring some of my books for them, autographed books.
A nice little message.
Yeah,
with
it probably has like a picture of them on them, like I'm going to bring them this. And then when that person says, hey, why can you stop saying the horrible things about me and my business that I'm anti-Semitic? Then he's like, well, they're true though.
Yeah.
Like imagine being that, that brain. Just where you think like...
And to a rabbi, no less.
Well, just kidding. I nickname the rabbi. But like to think both that like they're gonna love this. This person's gonna love it. I'm gonna give them my books. And they'll acknowledge that they've been an anti-Semite this whole time, even though that has nothing the fuck to do with anti-Semitism. It's a masterpiece. Like that level of narcissism is just... It's unmatched. Yeah. It's incredible.
Maybe you could have considered the possibility that somebody named Krem Miskovitz might not be an anti-Semite. Like before you said that, like maybe I don't know.
Do a tiny bit of rereseach first before you make a claim like that. Like
because Miskovitz was saying that, and I didn't actually know about Miskovitz's pronouns when we started covering this.
Right. A few
minutes ago.
Apologies if we've misgendered them at all.
But they were saying that Dershowitz knew at the point at which this whole interaction began that Dershowitz was purposely misgendering them, which is reason in itself not to sell to somebody.
And I will say, just in case anyone quibbles, it's not Miskovitz, which sounds a little more Jewish than you're saying. It's Miskovich.
Oh, Miskovich. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, still worth a Google.
I think it's because you're, Dershowitz. So it's Dershowitz, Miskovich. But yes, I mean, it's hilarious. Like the idea of just accusing someone of a whole anti-Semitic thing with not a care in the world for what the reality is.
Yeah.
Like not a care in the world for it.
Shout out to Justin Barragana, the reporter for this piece.
Yeah. What an article. Yeah.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Something to cheer us up.
And okay, so now predictions. Is he going to show up again?
A third weekend.
Yeah.
Do we think a third pierogi is going to be at the World Trade Center?
Hope so.
Oh boy. I imagine
hope it's the
such
gift that keeps
fucking
giving.
Asshole that a whole island is like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck. Yeah. It's like an actual movie where like the Grinch like goes off, and everyone's like, this is fantastic, or something. Yeah. Some villain.
Wait, maybe next weekend that's when he starts his own pierogi shop. The one that will sell to everybody.
Yeah. You won't sell me my pierogi. The entitlement too. We're going to have 2 pierogi stands. Yeah, that was funny too, because he was like mixing it a little bit. Like it's 2 pierogi stands, one for the people who won't sell to, anyway. It's like the 2 drinking fountains kind of thing that is like that level of victimhood. Good times.
Crazy.
I read that and I just laughed out loud.
He's been going to Martha's Vineyard for many, many, many years. I'm sure that they've been tired of him for a long time.
Yeah.
So this must feel good to really have a national opportunity to really just kick him out.
So much fun. Well, I love it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening, of course. We've been the Opening Arguments Wednesday show, Vapid Response Wednesday. You can listen to the podcast, of course. Find it wherever podcasts are sold. Opening Arguments Podcast. And thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks most of all to our patrons, and we'll see you next time.
And if there's anything you want us to cover, let us know.
Good idea. I meant to say that. Yeah. I meant to say that last time. You can email us at openarguments@gmail.com. You can, comment on this video. You can, the best place is Patreon, message us on patreon.com/law. That's where you can support the show. And please give us suggestions for videos, for articles for us to break down in this way, anything at all. And we'll take it into consideration.
For sure.
All righty.
All right.
Well,
see you later.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Lydia. Till next time.
Thank you.